good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Let me go ahead and allow this. Wherever you are around the world, welcome to Sustainability Talks with Dr. Srividhya Sukumar. We're excited to have you join us today as we get ready to commemorate World Environment Day. It is a pleasure to connect with all of you here who are passionate about sustainability and eager to drive positive change in our communities and beyond. Today, we are honored to have as our host, Dr. Srividhya Sukumar. Dr. Sukumar is an accomplished educationist, governance advisor, quality assurance and compliance expert, strategic transformations R&D consultant, life and business coach, author, columnist, global chair for GSFN, and global ambassador for the UN. I mean, we have the expert of experts. Her extensive experience and insight into sustainable practices make her an invaluable resource for us here in IIU as we navigate the complexities of environmental responsibility. In our discussion today, we will focus on objectives and initiatives of the EMPOWER Alliance, particularly spotlighting the G20 Alliance for the empowerment and progression of women's economic representation, also known as the G20 EMPOWER. Launched in 2019, G20 EMPOWER aims to accelerate action when women's leadership and empowerment in the private sector through collaboration between government and business. This initiative strives to be the best and most inclusive and action-driven alliance among businesses and governments, working diligently to enhance women's economic empowerment representation across the G20 countries. As we engage in this vital conversation, we have the correct person to lead us in it, Dr. Sukumar. We encourage you to actually join us. Think about your role, how we all play an important role in fostering sustainable practices and empowering women in their communities and workplaces. Together, I know we can create a more equitable and environmentally responsible future. So thank you all for being here today, and let us look forward to an enlightening session with Dr. Sukumar. Let's get started. Dr. Sukumar, the virtual podium is yours.
Thank you, Dr. Virginia. Thank you for that wonderful introduction and also the briefing about G20 EMPOWER Alliance. It would really help the audience to understand exactly what are we going to do today on this podium. So whatever thing like IIU has been doing for women empowerment, that has been stated in this EMPOWER Alliance, G20 EMPOWER Alliance, and IIU has already executed it with Women Mahila program. So towards the end of the session, I would request you to just sum it up with IIU's Mahila program so that people will get to know exactly, get to understand and relate exactly what are we talking about on this podium today. Thank you. Thank you for all your support, Dr. Virginia. Yes. Coming to the short introduction, short briefing done by Dr. Virginia. Thank you. For empowering women. Definitely, how is it related to this EMPOWER Alliance, which is the G20 EMPOWER is otherwise called as, how is it achieving gender equality and promoting sustainable development, catering to or commemorating SDG 5, that is gender inequality. So the key objective of this overall, on the overview, the key objective of this EMPOWER Alliance is that economic empowerment. That's the first thing. Providing women with equal access to all economic opportunities, resources and support. So if we have to do that, if you're going to give them opportunities, if you're going to talk about the resources, if you're talking about the support point of view, and what is actually required is the education and training. So this G20 EMPOWER is offering education and training programs to enhance women's skills and knowledge as well. So when there is economic empowerment, when the training has been done, what is the third thing? The women get on to the leadership roles. So thereby we are developing women leaders, promoting their participation in all the decision-making processes, whether it is entrepreneurship, whether it is an industry, whether it is a small scale, whether it is SME, MSME, or even the corporate world. Wherever it is, it really paves way or it really helps a great deal for the leadership development in women. So the benefits of that is that talking about this economic empowerment, education and training programs for women and the leadership enhancement really had benefited to increase autonomy of these women in these activities of decision making and thereby empowering their presence in the society. How? With improved health and well-being. With improved well-being not only for themselves but also for their families. So when the self is taken care of, the family is taken care, the communities are also taken care by the women. It's always said that if you educate a woman, you're educating the whole community. Thereby, the health and well-being is not only taken care within the family, but it is also influenced in the society, thereby empowering women for the economic growth and sustainable development. When the economic growth is being done, when they are being educated, when they are being raised to the C-suite level or the corporate level or the entrepreneurship level, when the home is taken care, every family is taken care, community is taken care, thereby it really paves way for the sustainable development. On the other hand, we can always say that it endorses the sustainable development happening in that place. So there are so many initiatives which have been taken by Indian government on this, the mentorship programs, the networking opportunities, advocacies in terms of policies and laws, and to promote women's rights and empowerment and everything. So what could be that? What is the main idea of bringing light to this forum? Is that this platform is that let us all together unite together on this Environment Day. I know environment is talking about taking care of solar, water, the resources which are there, but on the other hand we need to take care of the people as well. So we thought, let's talk about women, take care of them, and let's lead them to light. Let's a more kind of lead kindly light will support women-led initiatives, provide the resources for them, promote equity and partnership. Thereby we will be able to challenge these stereotype biases which are there. Empowering women can always lead to create a more equitable and prosperous society for all. So this is what the whole thing that we're going to see stage by stage. So on that note, please allow me to share my screen. The screen is loading, I think. Yeah, and yes, there we are. So the G20 EMPOWER Alliance, this is what is called as. It talks about empowerment and progression for women's economic representation. And this G20 EMPOWER Alliance as such is a progression of women's economic empowerment programs which are taken by the government across the globe, especially with the G20 countries at least. I just want to hide this. Okay. So the lower rate of women's economic, where did it all start? When did it start? And how is it taking forward? How is it really working on with the different communities? That's what the first thing that we need to see. Before that, I would like to place all the problems. What has led to the inception of this Empower Alliance, talking about women empowerment, is that the low rate of women's economic representation is still a very lingering problem, despite the efforts that are being made and progress being witnessed. So the World Economic Forum, WEF, and the Global Gender Gap Report projected that it will take 132 years to reach full gender parity based on the current rate of global progress, with further challenges triggered by COVID-19 pandemic and evolving global economic crisis. So there it has the first seed being laid and thought about the women empowerment. Imagine 132 years, I don't know where we will be. The second thing is that the International Labour Organization, ILO, noted that as of February 2022, the global labour force participation rate for women is under 47%, not even 50, okay, presenting 25 percentage points difference compared to women. Moreover, the share of women in the leadership position shows less convincing postures in solving these complex challenges. So as far as men are there in the leading positions, who is going to present these problems, the women's problems, for the people to take policies or to revamp policies, to redefine ecosystem structure, etc., etc., etc. So the percentage of women in these positions, that is 47%, has been the first question which has been raised. Third is that the Women Economic Forum noted that globally, women make just over third percentage, that is 36.9% of the leadership roles, a figure that is 3.6 higher than the reported in 2016. So the female representation in the top leadership positions is even more constrained, with women accounting for just 4.8% of the chief executive officers, that is C-suite that we call in Fortune 500 companies. These problem indicates the efforts for the gender parity will need to be accelerated to avoid losing another decade of progress. So that had led to this G20 EMPOWER Alliance, that is to work with the female empowerment with all the other G20 countries. So the wide labor market picture is still more challenging, stands in contrast with the slow progress towards parity in leadership. The progress in the workforce participation is still stalling. Financial inequality shows a sign of increase. That is, the global labor force participation rate for women is just over 50% compared to 80% of the men. That's what the World Bank 2022 says. Analysis also reveals that gap of 40% in the wage levels and 50% in the income is still to be bridged. And other challenges are found in respect to the access of digital technology for women, and the global analysis reveals that over 2.3 billion women are without internet access, and more than 1.7 billion who do not even own a mobile phone. 200 million fewer than men with online or mobile phone access. So these data has provided a fresh impetus for action for governments, investors, private sector businesses, workers and their organizations and non-government organizations to show that we need to work on the women empowerment. And the evidence shows that economy slows down disproportionately impact women in existing inequalities can cause gender equality initiatives to slip down the governmental and corporate agendas. Then, our great friend, the COVID pandemic, has also contributed to this, has thrown a spotlight on this enormous social and economic disparities with disproportionate impact on women observed in many fields, especially in the healthcare industry. Only 25% of the women hold leadership roles, accounting to 67% of the global healthcare workers. This is what WHO has confirmed. In entrepreneurship, women owned small and medium enterprises experience a more significant adverse impact from the pandemic than those of the ones which are owned by men. So the G20 Empower Indonesia presidency, with more than 50% of female entrepreneurs working in wholesale or retail trades, which suffered significant revenue impacts due to shutdowns and pandemic control measures. To seize the opportunity of boosting the global GDP by 3.9 by 2025, the International Labour Force Organization, private sector and the government stakeholders need to accelerate and deepen the rollout of the policies, practices designed to tackle the barriers for women to be a part of the workforce from the women-owned enterprises. Alongside the economic benefits, closing the gender gap could unlock widespread societal benefits, and the evidence shows that women are more likely to reinvest their profits in their families and communities, health, education, and well-being. That's what we discussed that's what was the introduction. By supporting the uplifting the role of women in the workforce, both through or owning SMEs or in the wider careers, we can substantially increase the economic advancement of G20 countries by providing a more equitable, gender-based social economic environment. More than continuing the legacy of G20 EMPOWER plays a critical role in driving these changes required to reduce the gender parity gap. This can only be achieved through a strategic collaboration between the governments and the private sectors, along with the engagement with the workers and their organizations in other social welfare organizations as well, which are otherwise called as civil society organizations. So, G20 countries should anchor to set up a fundamental best practices in supporting the women empowerment. That's what came up as Empower Alliance, especially in increasing the women economic participation, enforcing policies, including internationally recognized labor standards to assist women in rising to leadership position and establishing an environment to grow a long-term essential skills. Thus, the G20 Empower Alliance for the empowerment and progress of women economic representation accelerates women leadership and empowerment in the private sector. It does so by leveraging its inclusive and action-oriented vision and its unique partnership model, as G20 EMPOWER is the sole G20 entity that brings together over 60 business leaders and government representatives to advance towards a common goal. So, launched in 2019, G20 Summit, in Japan, established during the Saudi presidency, G20 EMPOWER includes today 28 members, including the G20 countries, the guest countries, and the European Union. So a collaboration was formed. A constitution for the women empowerment was formed. Under the Italian presidency, held by Paolo Marco Mascaro, the president of Valor, with the support of the Italian Department of Equal Opportunity, G20 EMPOWER first time advocates the progress in the women empowerment across the three cross-cutting areas of G20 for the people, planet, and prosperity as follows. So these are the measures, these are the strategies which were being published as such, which are being published and broadcasted. Measuring to improve, it is fundamental to both governments and businesses to tackle progresses, set goals, monitor trends in the advancement of women in leadership roles. Second, female talents pipeline as key to women leadership is essential to look into the diversity and inclusion of equitable policies and enables to address the systemic barriers around the advancement of women. That is, people should be learned to appreciate the talents in women and give them the leading roles. Leading to the future, it is necessary to address the gaps between the availability of the position, that is the quota, etc., adoption and implementation of the programs to provide women with the skills and qualification needed to meet and lead the future technological, digitalization and sustainability challenges. So these three priorities were discussed during the Empower plenary meetings through high level to define G20 Empower commitments and final commitment. So the commitments guide through the daily actions of the private sector leaders across the G20 countries to advance women in leadership, and the final commitment was shared by the Ministry of Conference of Women Empowerment and in the October summit of G20 final summit. So the alliance was also built in each of its G20 countries with a network of 400 advocates within the private sector. The head of the foundations and associations acts as supporters and promoters of this G20 Empower vision, messages and pledges within the companies, their sector and the country, amplifying the impact of the alliance work. So today what we are doing, catering to the second cadre. So delivering this network, G20 Empower is collecting a large range of best practices to support the greater recruitment and advancement of women as business leaders, and the compilation with the outcome of this effort will be a key output work of the G20 Empower under 2021 Italian presidency. So how does this G20 Empower support women leadership? The G20 Empower produce collective recommendation with concrete deliverables to ensure the measurement of KPIs in supporting the women leadership, thereby two other reports with KPI dashboard and also best practices playbook. These are the two ways that we can know exactly what all things the particular country is contributing to it. If we are talking about G20 India, that is Empower Alliance India, G20 Empower India has very huge website, a beautiful website which has got all these programs and projects which are laid out in a very detailed manner. Thereby, it is catering not exactly to just women's development, but women-led development. So the prioritizing paradigm shift from women development to women-led development, how is it going to be achieved is that women entrepreneurship, a win-win equity for a win-win for equity and economy, that is supporting women entrepreneurship, creating a global partnership promoting women leadership across all levels, including grassroots, Third is that education game-changing pathway to women empowerment, thereby educating the women. Last but not the least, digital skilling with cutting cross with all the three focus areas. Means the digital skills will be applied in the area of women entrepreneurship, in the area of women leadership, and also for the education towards the women empowerment. So how could we do this? I'm sorry, I need to go back. By engaging all stakeholders. This is the first key thing. Anyone for that matter who is interested in the topic, who is interested to contribute, will be engaged in this activity. By developing, when they are engaged, they will develop an action-oriented agenda towards promoting equity and the empowerment of the women, taking the empowered messages to the masses. We have talked about the constitutional preamble before, in the beginning of the session. These were the things that were to be achieved. So that preamble will be carried as the empowered message, the masses, generating all inclusive content, including the valuable perspectives of women from all walks of life. So the barriers were made as carriers for change. So that's how it is with the women entrepreneurship, a win-win equity for an economy. According to, so the changes started happening. So according to GEM's report of 2020 and 2021, women entrepreneurship report, one was said that 3 growth-oriented women entrepreneurs as women and are likely to be active in starting a business and face unique challenges while setting up the leading their own businesses. These barriers could include, but not limited to, barriers to education, finance, social capital, network, market linkages, burden of care, that is home, work-life balance, etc., and gender dynamics within the family or with the community. So these were set as the targets of focus to help the women in different area walks of life. So as success reports as evidences, there is a growing recognition for among the women leaders, that we can see so many women leaders have come in force, and women entrepreneurs are making significant contributions to the global economy in the society. That is quite evident. That we are able to see exactly at the global level. And globally, an estimated 274 million women are involved in the business startups, in addition to 139 million women owners and managers of the established businesses, and 144 million informal women investors were patronized. So promoting women entrepreneurship is significant because it increases the women access to income. It is a foundation for women's economic empowerment. It leads to overall economic growth of a nation. It is crucial for achievement of substantive equality, and it increases the total number of entrepreneurs and labor force participation. This is the whole summary is about with the entrepreneurship. So the women's right to equitable economic opportunities and its critical importance for sustainable development is embedded with several multilateral normative frameworks that the G20 is strategically securing future global economic growth and prosperity. Thus, G20 EMPOWER 2023 is committed to highlighting the role of women's entrepreneurship towards women's economic empowerment and to the overall growth of the nation's economy. So the SDG Goal 5 aims to achieve gender equality and empower all women girls exactly. So the G20 EMPOWER 2023 will pursue the women's empowerment under SDG Goal 5 as the overarching priority to G20 work streams. To that end, the focus area that has been identified as women entrepreneurship. So a win-win for equity in the economy to address the women entrepreneurs' unique barriers. The prolonged approach is envisaged through mentoring and capacity building, endangering markets and financial scaling up to innovations and adopting global best practices. So the way forward under India's presidency is to collaborate with the G20 members and the guest countries to take forward these initiatives to promote women entrepreneurship by facilitating the discussions and forums addressing the barriers faced specifically by women entrepreneurs, thereby creating a global partnership. So we are moving on to the second, creating a global partnership for promoting women leadership across all levels, including grassroots. So thereby how to go about it. Women's equal participation and representation in all local decision-making processes is critical by prioritizing the differential needs and localizing the sustainable developmental goals. Thereby, women representation in the local deliberative bodies is higher than the national parliaments, but there is still a lingering gender gap of the 6.2 million elected members in the deliberative bodies of local government. Only 2.18 million are women. That is only 36% are women. So this places the women representation in the local governments is higher than in the national parliaments. So although it is still nowhere close to the parity, only 20 countries have reached over 40% of women in the local decision-making bodies, and 28 countries have women representation between 30 to 40%. So to truly empower women, enabling their role in the leadership and decision-making at all levels of society is very crucial. So studies have found how to do that is the exposure to the public and political representation increases overall women's overall labor force participation, that share a public employment opportunities and access to all public amenities. So this is demonstrated in the exponential growth story of India. Our Prime Minister's vision of women-led empowerment is reflected in various national flagship programs, including Mission Shakti, Shaksham Angawadi, and Poshan 2.0, and National Rural Livelihood Mission, and Jandan Yogna, Mudra, Startup India, Skill India, etc., etc., etc. All these programs have empowered women at the various levels, including the grassroots level. Thus, G20 EMPOWER 2023 will pursue women's empowerment under SDG Goal 5 as an overarching priority through G20 work streams. To that end, one of the focuses, partnership to promote women leadership at all goals, is slowly being achieved. So creating a global partnership for promoting women leadership is significant because it improves the nutrition and the health delivery in the first place. That is, self-health is the best health. So improving the health, and health is always wealth. So improving nutrition and the health delivery comes in the first place. And thereby promoting digital and the financial inclusion also comes in the second, because they need to have an account, they need to operate their bank accounts and etc. And they have to have cash transactions. So in that case, with all the mobile apps and etc. So promoting digital and financial inclusion comes in the second place. Increasing women's overall labor and force participation, access to public amenities and resources. So this comes in the third place. Promoting women in all the governance roles comes in the fourth place. Enhancing women public and political representation comes in the fifth place. With all these 5 strategies, we will be able to create a global partnership for promoting women leadership, thereby making their presence more valuable in the global communities. So in the past, the G20 countries have prioritized women's empowerment through education and entrepreneurship. Under India's presidency, G20 EMPOWER 2023 has additionally highlighted the role of grassroots leadership in increasing women's voices in the decision-making. Promoting participation and leadership in women with the local self-governments and self-help groups and community is very crucial for their empowerment. This can be achieved as a global roadmap for leveraging grassroots leadership towards holistic empowerment of women. So under India's presidency, the way forward is to collaborate with all the G20 members and the guest countries to create a global partnership for promoting women's leadership at all levels. So, if we have to do it, what we need to do is that we need to educate all our women. So the education is a game-changing pathway to women empowerment. So G20 EMPOWER 2023, we started pursuing women's empowerment as an overarching priority to the G20 workstream. Our one identified focus is that education is the key to women empowerment and equal workforce participation. Their education is a critical link between women empowerment and their equal workforce participation. Specifically, education is in areas of science, technology, and engineering, mathematics has a significant impact on all women earning capacities. So 49% of the member countries have achieved this gender parity in the primary education. and the gap widens at the secondary level, and 42% of the member countries have achieved the gender parity in the lower secondary education, and 24% has been achieved in the upper secondary education. So these statistics are really alarming. And where are we talking about achieving 100% within 2020, 2030, and we are already in 2035. So the SDG Goal 4 is really paves a handway there to ensure inclusive and quality education for all. Promoting lifelong learning opportunities is therefore an overarching goal for all the G20 countries. So education is critical for economic empowerment, improving employment outcomes, enabling women to take part in the leadership positions. So when you look at the stats, there are only 78.2 million out of the school children, among whom 54% are only girls. And the GEMS report of 2021-22 emphasizes the importance of involving private players in the education sector, without which education of 350 million more than would be negatively impacted. So women make up only 36.2% of enrollment in science, technology, and engineering, mathematics, and STEM. And about only 11% of the women workers, are compared to 9% of the male workers, are at higher risk of losing their jobs to automation or because of the AI or the influence, etc., due to the lack of STEM skills, capacities, access, and awareness. So therefore, promoting women literacy, that is women education and vocational training in non-traditional sectors, is fundamental to have a global progress on gender equality. So adolescent girls and women have high expectations for transitioning to work, but often find themselves in limbo due to the lack of skills, social norms, communication problem, etc., etc. We name anything, it will come there. Home cannot balance between work-life balance, etc. So the inadequate support to make that transition. There is a need to recognize to all education institutions, students, teachers, as a part of a single system. This will create a pathway for empowering women and will promote a systematic school-to-work transition. So investing in education and skill development not only empowers women, but also their families and communities. So education equity is a unique and essential investment which promotes women leadership and economic empowerment. So ensuring that education benefits women and men equally provides multiple development dividends. So the way forward under India's presidency is to collaborate with the G20 members and the guest countries in the field of education of women and girls as well. So when the education is being done, when the training is being done, when all channels are being opened, avenues are open, what is that we need to work on is women empowerment policies. So women empowerment policies, again, the initiatives and strategies aim to promote the gender equality, enhancing the rights and opportunities and well-being of women in various aspects of life, including the social, economic, political, and cultural spheres. So these policies seek to address the historical disadvantages and discrimination the women have faced, and they aim to create a more inclusive and equitable society. So here are some small common areas that are covered with women empowerment policies. First, we need to focus on education. That is, these policies will focus on ensuring equal access to quality education for girls and women. This may involve measures to eliminate gender-based stereotypes curricula, providing scholarship for girls, improving school infrastructure to accommodate the need for female students. Second is the economic empowerment. These policies also aim to promote women economic participation and financial independence. These might include the measures such as equal pay for equal work, support for women entrepreneurs, access to credit and capital, and establishing affordable childcare services to facilitate women participation in the workforce. Third, healthcare. Women empowerment policies often address women health issues, including reproductive health, maternal health care, and access to family planning services. They also promote awareness and prevention of gender-specific health problems. So the political participation also is being taken into account. These policies encourage women active participation and representation in the political areas as well as decision-making bodies. They might involve quotas, targets for women representation in elected offices, as well as efforts to increase women involvement in the leadership goals or the decision-making roles. Thereby, these legal reforms have to come in vogue. The policies in these areas focusing on the legal inequalities and the discriminative practices that affects the women's rights have to be cited upon. This can involve reforming the laws related to marriage, divorce, inheritance, property rights to ensure women's rights have equal legal standing. Thereby, some of the other things which we cannot ignore is that the violence prevention, that women empowerment policies may also include to combat the gender bias violence such as domestic violence, sexual harassment and trafficking. And these policies should always support the survivors, raise awareness and strengthen the legal mechanisms to hold perpetrators accountable. So the media and culture, these policies aim to challenge and change the harmful gender stereotypes perpetuated by the medias and cultural norms. They promote more inclusive and diverse portrayals of women in media and encourage positive social attitudes towards women. And thirdly, social services. Policies in the category focusing on improving access to essential services for all women, including child care, elder care, healthcare services, etc. This allows women to balance their responsibilities and pursue their goals more effectively. So the technology and innovation, while increasing the role of technology in society, these women empowerment policies may also encompass the initiatives to bridge the digital gender divide and providing women with access of information, communication tools and opportunities in the digital economy. Thereby, summing it up, it's all comes under this capacity building. These policies involve providing women with skill training, education, leadership development, self-enhancement programs and opportunities to enhance their capacity and engage effectively in various spheres of life. So it is important to know that women empowerment policies vary from country to country and also influenced by cultural, social and economic context. But effective implement of these policies require a multifaceted approach involving government institutions, civil society organizations and international partners working together to create a long-lasting change. Certainly, here are some of the examples which have been done so far, so we can take them as a guideline and move forward. So some of the examples of the specific women empowerment policies that have been implemented in different countries so far is a quota system. Some countries have implemented the quota system to ensure the certain percentage of women representation in political bodies such as legislature and local council. Equal pay legislation, laws that has amended for equal pay for equal work regardless of the gender, addressing the gender pay gap is also being owed. Maternity and paternity leave, policies that providing paid maternity and paternity leave to support the work-life balance for both men and women. So microfinance programs, initiative to provide financial assistance and services, including small loans to women entrepreneurs who may have limited access to traditional banking systems has also come into O. So gender responsive budgeting, incorporating a gender perspective into national budgets to ensure the government spending addresses to the specific needs and priorities of women is also being in place. So the safe spaces and shelters, establishing a safe spaces and shelters for women who are the victims of domestic violence and trafficking is also being there in different countries, but those countries which are not there have to really follow this. It's nothing but sharing best practices so they can just take it to the other countries. Girls education initiatives, programs that focus on increasing girls enrollment and retention in schools, often providing scholarships and incentives. With all the legal reforms, laws related to marriage, changes in laws related to marriage, divorce and inheritance and property rights to ensure equal legal standing for women. Skill development programs, training and education programs that can empower women with skills needed for employment and entrepreneurship. Last, which is a key thing, is that awareness campaign. Public awareness campaign that will challenge these gender stereotypes, promoting women's rights and addressing social norms that perpetuate discrimination. Some of the other things are healthcare access, policies that improve the access for reproductive healthcare services, family planning and maternal health support is also there. Anti-sexual harassment, enacting laws that will define, prohibit sexual harassment in workplaces and public spaces. community-based initiatives like local level projects that engage communities in promoting gender equality and women empowerment, and rural development program initiative that will target the rural women by providing training, resources and opportunities for income generation and community development. With ICT access that we have told that policies to bridge the gender divide, digital gender divide by promoting women access to information and communication technologies. Thereby, women entrepreneurship support, providing mentoring and training, access to capital for women entrepreneurs to start and grow their business, legal aid support services, that is establishing a legal aid program that will help the women to access justice and protecting their rights, political training and leadership program like training women in political leadership skills to increase their representation in the decision-making roles, gender responsive health services, ensuring that healthcare services taken into account with the specific health needs for women and girls, and promotion of women in STEM. This we can see so much in happening, the initiatives to encourage that supporting women participation in the leadership of science, technology, engineering and mathematics fields. These policies, among others, work together to address various dimensions of women empowerment and create more equitable societies. The effectiveness of these policies often depends on the various factors such as political commitment, public awareness, funding, and collaboration of the multiple stakeholders. Certainly, here are the few examples of the NGOs that have contributed on women empowerment along with other projects in some of the countries they operate in. That is CARE International. Project name is Empower Her Through Education in India. This project focuses on improving the access of quality education for girls, reducing dropout rates and providing vocational training to young women. Plan International, that is Project Safer Cities for Girls in multiple countries. This project aims to create a safe urban environments for girls and young women by addressing their issues such as gender-based violence, harassment, and lack of safe public spaces. And Women for Women International project is called as Stronger Women in Stronger Nations. It's in Afghanistan. This project provides women survivors of conflict with training in life skills, vocational skills, business development to help them to rebuild their life and contribute their communities. Kenya's Dream Project, Kenya Center for Excellence in Kenya, and this project operates a girl boarding school that emphasizes education, health, leadership development for young girls in the rural Kenya. Global Fund for Women. This project, various initiatives across the world, that is Global Fund for Women, supports a wide range of projects aiming at advancing women's rights, gender equality, and women leadership in different countries. We Day, that's the project which is called as 1 Billion Racing campaign in various countries, which is also happening, is a global movement to end violence against women and girls through creative events, performances, and awareness raising activities. Room to Read is a project which is under Girls Education Program, which is happening in multiple countries, and this program focuses on improving girls' literacy, providing life skills education, and supporting girls to complete their secondary education. He for She is a project which is a global solidarity movement for gender equality. He for She is a UN Women initiative that engages men and boys as advocates for gender equality and encourages them to take action against discrimination and violence. Afghan's Women Network project, various projects supporting women's rights in Afghanistan. This network of Afghan women organizations work towards advance of women's rights, promoting gender equality and empower women across different sectors in Afghanistan. Rural Women Network in Nepal. Project is Women Empowerment, Economic Empowerment in Nepal, and this network focuses on improving rural women access to resources, markets, and training to enhance their economic empowerment. Remember that all these NGOs and their projects are just a representation of many organizations working on global women empowerment globally. Their efforts span a wide range of issues and they operate in diverse cultural, social, and economic contexts. So with that, we come to the end of the session, talking about women empowerment and the G20, which is otherwise called as EMPOWER Alliance. Now, why did we even bring this Empower Alliance today on this platform? Is we are commemorating World Environment Day. When we talk about environment, we are thinking that environment is what we see around us. Sometimes it is what we see within us as well. As women, definitely we have to take care of women who are also a part of us in the society. And this Empower Alliance is such an initiative by all governments across the globe that there have been initiatives which have been working on women empowerment and women empowerment schemes and revamping policies and everything. Now, I would like to bring to highlight how IIU has been contributing to this women empowerment, and Dr. Virginia will say more about exactly how IIU has been contributing towards women empowerment. Thank you. Over to Dr. Virginia. Thanks for the opportunity, Dr. Virginia.
Thank you so much. Wow, that was eye-opening. Definitely a lot is going on. We do hope that with all that effort, we actually see the needle move. It's already been 3 years, and I have to say that unfortunately, there is a whole lot of change happening. Nonetheless, we can't give up, and we have to continue to pursue. Not that women feel empowered, because women are already empowered. They know they have power to succeed. Is that society understands what women need in order to live to their fullest ability. And this means making sure that they can carry out their professional ambition. And there's nothing wrong with being an ambitious woman. And also fulfilling, if they want to, their work-life balance situation. Today, there is not one country that has attained parity, equal pay. Iceland is very, very close. But additional to that, not one country has attained parity. So we still have a lot of work to do. But it is really important that we address this. And in IIU, what we provide is education. Our visionary founder, Mr. Advocate Peeyush Pandit, his dream is to make sure that any individual that wants to have access to quality education can do it with a small device, any device that has a Wi-Fi component. If you have a little bit of Wi-Fi, it could be in a cafe, it could be in a neighbor's house, it could be in your house, it doesn't matter. And you have a device, you have access to quality education. If you go to our YouTube channel, we have 12,000 courses that you can have access to. And we have around 1,500 e-educators around the world willing to provide their know-how, willing to provide their expertise so everyone can learn. Starting from that point, IIU continues to support all these ideas. We have Women's Entrepreneur Council, and now we're supporting Mahila Udyami. Mahila Udyami is part of the initiatives of the Peeyush Group of Companies and Trusts. The Peeyush Group is the head, and Swarna Bharat Parivar is the foundation, and Mahila Udyami is one of the programs under this foundation. I am the Chief Program Officer for Mahila Udyami, and Mahila Udyami started in 2016 in a tiny little island in the Caribbean called Puerto Rico as Mujer Emprende Latina. And Mujer Emprende Latina in that moment wanted to make sure that there was an organization, an NGO, where women could attain entrepreneurial education, support, coaching, and also capital funding. Since 2016, we've been doing this. I am a president and co-founder, and when I joined the Peeyush Group in 2023, Peeyush Pandit decided that yes, this is something that we also have to bring to India. So Mujer Emprende means Mahila Udyami, so it's the same organization but with a Hindi name, and in English it's Women Entrepreneurs. And we just heard and we were able to see an entire presentation of what the G20 Power Alliance is doing. Dr. Srividhya explained beautifully every program and every opportunity that as a G20 country is happening right now, or we're trying to foster and pursue. Nonetheless, that doesn't mean that it is happening already. So we need to, as we move towards tomorrow, acknowledging World Environmental Day, it is essential that we recognize the interconnectedness of environment sustainability and women's empowerment. It has been shown time and time again that globally women continue to face significant barriers, and we just saw that, to leadership and economic participation, particularly in the private sector. Despite progress in very, very many areas, women remain underrepresented and underserved in decision-making roles. This disparity not only affects gender equality, but it also has a broader implication for sustainability development. In many rural areas, women engage in both paid and unpaid work. Unpaid work is informal economy, but it's still an economy. The thing is that women are not protected, often putting in long hours, much longer hours than men. Despite their tireless efforts, they are frequently compensated less, with regions like, give you certain examples in India, but I'm not even going to go into that because there's so many countries that are still at the same level. In India, regarding some of the lowest daily wages, and like I said before, India is not the only country that is suffering for rural women. Rural women are often marginalized, and because they live in remote areas and are usually not connected, we think they don't exist. But 60% of the women around the world live in rural areas. So that is more than half of the women. So can you imagine if we actually did empower women, especially those in rural areas, how we would change our global economy? According to the International Labor Organization, approximately 1 billion women that live in these rural areas work in these rural areas. They work in the formal and informal economy, like I said before. When we work in the informal economy, we have no protection. And this brings us challenges such as inadequate access to education, training, and financial resources. The G20 EMPOWER, which we consider to be a catalyst for change, the G20 Alliance for the Empowerment and Progression of Women's Economic Representation, known as the G20 EMPOWER, is making strides, but it's not there yet. We have enough information to put in a huge deck of information, but we don't have enough studies that show how incremental the growth has been. So this is where we all have to come in. This is where we all have to address rural women's challenges. Like the organization, like the Labor Organization Union, work to ensure equal pay for women. It is imperative for us, for a society, to support local women from exploitation. And when I say exploitation, I'm not only talking about bosses and companies. I'm talking about family members and community. We need to address this with the right name and the right last name, because if we don't do it, this call to action will go nowhere. We need to make sure that we understand exactly what we are talking about. By advocating for fair treatment, equitable pay, and better working conditions, we can uplift the rural workforce, which we just established is more than half, but not only that, is in charge of our food security. Can you imagine a planet with no food? This is why we need to empower our women in leadership positions, because they know. Uniting efforts is essential for creating a holistic approach to rural women's empowerment. In Mahila Udyami, as I started, we firmly believe that by addressing education and skill development, providing safe haven for women that live in toxic environments, improving representation and leadership in communities, ensuring advocating for social protection in rural economies, we can create an environment where women are not only empowered, but also celebrated as vital components of their families and their communities. This we have yet to see. This has yet to happen. Empowering women is just not a matter of fairness. It is critical for achieving sustainable development. Studies show time and time again that when women participate fully in the economy, there's a significant positive impact on environmental sustainability. Women tend to invest more in their families and communities because they bring life to the world. It's as easy as that. It's in our DNA. We prioritize sustainable practices because we believe in future generations. We bring forth future generations. So we need to make sure that by enhancing practices, making sure that women's economic representation is present, we can drive transformative change and sustainable efforts. Empowering rural women is not just a matter of justice. It's a fundamental step towards achieving sustainable development. Again, economic growth and social equality for all. In Mahila Udyami, our mission reinforces that by investing in potential, we are investing in the future. We know that women have the potential to lead. We know that women have the potential to create. We see it time and time again. We want to invest in 100,000 women by 2030. We know that if we do this, we're investing in a brighter, more equitable future for all of us. One of the things that is very, very important is that women are the ones who have children. I've said this before, and we never take it into consideration. If we really believe that women, and we want them to continue to bring human life, and we need to make sure that they have flexibility. Not once did I hear, and anything of what the G20 Alliance is doing is providing flexibility. The number one thing that women need is flexibility. That's it. If we allow women the flexibility that they need in order to live to their fullest potential, and that means live their professional ambitions or what of their contribution to the world and carrying out their responsibilities as the natural human creators, then we will see change. If we continue to be inflexible and not allow women this opportunity, we will see a decline in birth rates. We're already seeing this all over the world. This is not only happening in Korea and in China. This is happening everywhere. When a woman makes a decision not to have children, there are positive, but a lot more negative implications for society. The potential is detrimental. Population decline. A significant reduction in birth rates can lead to population decline, particularly in countries with already low fertility rates. This demographic shift may result in an aging population, which is so much more expensive for the country's economy, increasing the dependency ratio, more retirees relying on fewer working age individuals, and increasing the retirement age from 62, 65, and 70 to 85 or 90. Such imbalances constrain social services, healthcare systems, and pension funds. Labor shortages. If women do not have children as the population ages and fewer young people enter the workforce, labor shortages may arise in various sectors. This cannot be substituted by AI. AI is not a substitute for human. It is not. And we need to remember this. Let's look at the case study in point in China. China had the one child for 40 years, and now they have an aging population. They don't have a workforce. And the next 5 to 10 years, India will become the superpower based solely on their demographic. Based solely on demographic, without considering a prime minister that's active in education, a prime minister that's active in women empowerment. Just based on the amount of people they have of a certain age, India is a superpower. We will see a world order change, and we need to prepare for this world order. The economic challenges are incredible. A declining population can lead to lower consumer demand, affecting economic stability and growth. Businesses may face challenges sustaining operations, leading to potential layoffs and increased unemployment rates. So we talk about women entrepreneurs. That is my job. This is what my expertise. But if women entrepreneurs do not have a workforce to work in or work for, we will have serious economic troubles. So again, when we talk about empowering women, we need to think women are already empowered. What we need is the flexibility that women need for the challenge that they're posing today. One of the things that really makes me sad is the loss of cultural heritage. Fewer children being born may contribute to a loss of cultural traditions and practices that are typically passed down through generations. This can result in a weaker cultural identity and a reduction in the diversity of perspective and experiences in our society. We are only as big as the diverse perspectives that we include in our tapestry. We don't have that. We all suffer. So truly, again, I believe in the G20 Alliance. I believe in women's empowerment. But we need to think about women's economic empowerment. And in order for women to attain financial autonomy, she needs to work. She needs to be in a safe environment. She needs to be protected. She needs to be given the flexibility to carry out what is her main responsibility, because men cannot do that. Men cannot have children. So, time and time again, when I speak to people, I talk about many things. Funding is only 2%. 2% allocated to female-led entrepreneurs. 2%. 98% goes to the rest, not to female entrepreneurs and their startups. So at Mahila Udiami, we're looking at it from a different perspective. We're looking at it where we offer flexibility, where education becomes a superpower, where you have an opportunity to develop a skill that will give you the time to have your professional abilities really to their fullest potential, but also being able to carry out, if you so decide, to have a family. Many times we have to decide between one and another because we cannot do both. It is not a proposition for women motherhood is not, because there is no time, there is no strength, there is no flexibility. So time and time again, I have to say, it all looks really beautiful on a deck, but we need to make sure that our NGOs are carrying out the work that the governments are not doing. Cool. And this is really preparing women to be educated and know what their rights are and know how to ask for them. Have leadership in labor unions that protect women. This is so important. And making sure that we have financial resources so entrepreneurship is an option for women. There's no point in giving us programs if we don't have the funding to carry them out.
Exactly.
So this is a reality, right? So ultimately, the impact of women not having children is complex and multifaceted. The impact of empowering women is complex and multifaceted. None of this is easy, but women are empowered. We know we have the power. What we need is society to help us in this preconceived notion that they know it all. The truth is, listen to more women. More women in leadership, as Dr. Sukumar said, will open up the perspective, will bring diversity, and most importantly, inclusion into everything that we do. And Mahila Udiami, we truly believe that we can help with this. So Mahila Udiami is a global women's empowerment and business hub with the only green and it's a tech and sustainability incubator gender specific to women called the Green Goddess. And this is where technology meets sustainability and agriculture. We're inviting all women with an idea to join us. We will pay for you to stay in our incubator 3 to 6 months so you can finish this incredible project that you're working on, tech, agriculture, and sustainability. This is what Mahila Udiami know, because we know that when you invest in women, communities prosper, but the investment has to be directly targeted and pinpointed. So thank you again. Please find us in all social media, Mahila Udiami, Women's Empowerment and Business Hub. We're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're on LinkedIn. Thank you for inviting me here, and IIU supports all of this. It's our matrix, it's our headquarters, it's the brain where everything happens. So thank you, Dr. Sukumar.
Thank you, Dr. Virginia, for those really wonderful. It was mind-blowing and it was really educating, though people do not know exactly what is happening. So in that case, it's our duty to educate them, tell them exactly what we are doing, how we are doing, why we are doing, what is the impact, what transformation it has created in the society. So that's what is very important. Thank you, Dr. Chap, for joining us. And I think we should end the session like as we all talked about. Dr. Chap, do you have anything to say? And can we conclude the session, please? Thank you. So, empowering women, as we all know.
So unfortunately, I won't be able to open the camera. Where I am here, I can't just open it. But I need to thank God for all what you have said so far. I enjoyed all the speech. And I pray that as we are celebrating the World Environmental Day, God will come to sustain us so that we'll be able to stand the test of time. Everything about sustainability is all about the ability to meet the needs of presence. without compromising the ability of the future generation to meet their own needs. So as far as we are driving the cause of women, they are so powerful. We need to respect them. Without women, we the men cannot stand. The way you are expressing yourself concerning the empowerment of women is very, very important, and we all appreciate it in the IIU. We are all called to treat every gender equally. Everyone should have equal pay, should not lack educational opportunity, and to avoid gender-based violence is very important. And women should have access to education, irrespective of who you are, irrespective of the size you are, and the ability. We should also take care of our kids. It's very, very important. So all this gives one the opportunity to justify one that one will be able to do and sustain the future. It's so important. And the issue of looking at the environmental day, which is supposed to be tomorrow, I think, of which we are called to aim to raise global awareness about the harmful impact of plastic wastes, of which it causes a lot of havoc in our economic system to wild animals and human health. We should try as much as avoiding such the negative impacts to the environment. It costs a lot. As far as we are empowering women, I pray that God will make everything, perfect everything to His glory, and every one of us will be happy at the end of the period as we are driving sustainability development goal 2030, and God will sustain us within this peace. Thank you very much. I give kudos to IIU, I give kudos to my sisters. God will bless you and impart into you the wisdom needed for us to actualize success in life. Thank you very much. God bless you all.
Thank you, Dr. Sars. Very kind of you. So now summing up, thanks for Dr. Virginia also for sharing the differences about Yami. Really, it was the greatest session. I thought I will be only presenting, but there were two other great contributions which just really enhances to the next level. So as we sum it up, empowering women is very crucial for achieving the gender equality and promoting sustainable development, with the key rationale being the economic empowerment, providing equal economic opportunities and resources and support to all the women, thereby followed with education and training. When we offer them, we need to offer them training programs to enhance their skills and knowledge, such that developing women leaderships, promoting their participation in all the decision-making processes. And with that, definitely it will empower women, increase in their autonomy and also with their presence, thereby leading to improved health and well-being of themselves and their families and their communities, thereby contributing to the economic growth and sustainable development. Thank you so much. Thanks for the great opportunity, and we owe a sincere thanks to Dr. Peeyush Pandit as well for making this platform available to us, for sharing our inputs and ideas and everything, sharing best practices, and such that it's definitely an education platform. As the inspiring, igniting young minds is always there to ignite these young minds, not only the young minds, but for the whole community. So long live his service, and definitely thank you, Dr. Virginia. Thanks for the brilliant support, incessant support. That support has never stopped for me. Thank you so much. You have been always a pillar of support and strength to me. Thank you, Dr. Charles. Thanks for the great opportunity. Thank you so much. Thank you.